beginning in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, we're back in it. We just got the canoe. We are going up to ordeals. I think everything is already pretty much prepared here, so let me go ahead and sort that up. We've got basically no inventory, and that's the way we like it. We're going to get some stuff here pretty soon. There a new fantasy Final Fantasy season by the end of the year? Nope. No announcement has been made about fantasy Final Fantasy future seasons yet. Hey, Mega Bear, welcome in. Hope you have a good time here tonight. We just picked up with our solo White Mage again with a decent number of levels. We are easily able to run away from all the dangerous opponents. And with a really massive amount of MP. Taking damage is not that big of a deal. You've got essentially unlimited amounts of healing here. So as long as you don't succumb to a single fight, like getting paralyzed by some big eyes, then pretty much you are good to go. And now there may be occasionally a problematic stretch, one where you have unreadable enemies that the White Mage cannot currently deal with. Right now, all we have is the harm spell, so we are able to beat undead monsters, which, luckily, the stretch that we just went through with Vampire, Lich, and the upcoming fight with Zombie Dragons, these are all undead monsters. So the White Mage does extremely well here. If it wasn't for this stretch, if you had to deal with regular enemies in this pit, it would be a much more miserable experience for the White Mage. But luckily, it all works out. Hey, Storyteller teammates. Welcome in. Thank you very much for the good wishes there. Once we get through ordeals, I'll have the Zeus Gauntlet and I'll be able to actually attack things. It's going to be wonderful. It all comes together. This is why we go to ordeals, even though in theory, this could be entirely skipped. You are not class judging, so you don't need to get the tail here. But the Zeus Gauntlet, very, very valuable until you can get the airship and access to things like the Thor Hammer and the Mage Staff. You also get a free gold bracelet, which is kind of nice. Though money is probably not going to be that big of a deal. And yes, in the mix, you actually have to talk to the old man. It is an outrage. Otherwise, that chair doesn't work. Alright, let's head up. Gonna take the bottommost teleporter in any room that has a choice. It's an easy way to remember what the pathway through the dungeon is. Hey there, Phil CKD, welcome in. We just picked up with part 2 of our solo White Mage challenge. I'm expecting to spend a good bit of time here with the zombie dragons. I would like to get maybe some mega elixirs. I don't know how many we actually need, but if I get a few here, then I probably don't need to get mega elixirs or even regular elixirs from the 15 puzzle. I think the White Mage is going to be that good at being able to survive things. It's like the one thing that would be kind of nice to have would be an emergency exit, which if we're going to do the bonus dungeons is good to be able to pop at the end. Otherwise, you are pretty much already set in terms of what you need from the 15 puzzle. You'll get everything all in basically one shot. Is this even randomized? It might be. We are still not certain. Hey, thanks, Neapolitan Afterglow. Glad you're having a good time. Floor number 2 here. We do have to deal with the nightmares, and nightmare is a very, very fast enemy. Which means it's kind of hard to run away from. If we get fortunate, it'll be nice and fast for the first try here. I just want to see, is the heal staff any good on the White Mage? I don't think it's going to be important. I really doubt it's going to help. but I will go check. One more try. Hey, there we go. Dan, at the last second, manages to do it. All right. So if we had the heal staff, it would be a pretty big downgrade from our silver hammer. And heal 1 is almost certainly worthless, so I'm just going to leave this behind. I believe that the heal staff may be too powerful for our white mage tonight. And so like the power staff, it has been relegated to the dustbin of history. If you really wanted to, you could sell it, but I doubt it's going to be worth it. Heal staff, maybe you get that on the black mage who doesn't have any alternative ways of healing with really high intelligence. I imagine black mage could get probably like 200 health back on a heal staff. It would be pretty funny if it was actually decently effective. But white mage is going to have better options. Mage will also have this gold bracelet. Take that upgrade there. There are banana-shaped dragons. Well, Dan's just going to have to eat them then. We're going to have to use our Zeus Gauntlet a lot, so I'm going to put that all the way up here in the front. You know what? Let's try out that Zeus Gauntlet. This is a white mage, I think, with 30 intelligence. Not bad. Does decently know at 40, we hit the breakpoint. Alright, so we have 1921 to our next level up. We're going to still be looking for a lot of intelligence points here. Let's see what we get. 5 MP, 21 MP, agility, stamina, luck. I mean, it's a pretty good level, but no intelligence point. Let's keep pushing it. At this stage, I don't really care about the strong HP gains, so arguably the other good stats, maybe you could say that decent. But I'd be looking for intelligence, or pretty much just take it, whatever. You wouldn't even need to care about the other ones if you don't get it. Alright, 29, 23 agility. Pretty good gains, but not good enough. This would be similar to the mummies, where you have a nice trap tile that you can pretty easily farm out for a good amount of potential levels. And then if we don't get it, we can look at doing a fight off on the side and see if that mixes up the RNG in a useful way. A 1 in 8 chance of getting these intelligence points. Alright, 5, 21, agility, nope. That was the worst one yet. Hey, Avon Chaos, welcome in. Well, it really likes getting me 2 zombie knees. Is this the exact same one as last time? It might be. Alright, so everything's been the same here so far, which means I am just going to take this opportunity to burn 1 round and see if we get a different result this time. This is with 1 extra round of the fight. Armor 666. Thank you much for the good wishes there. See what we got. 5, 21, agility, same outcome. Most unfortunate. Alright, so this is definitely new because we only have 1 zombie. Let's see if it's any better. 521 agility, intelligence. There we go. We got the intelligence point. Level down. Now, these things are worth a lot of experience, so it should be very quick getting level ups. It's getting to the point where the mummies were just a little bit too slow for each level ups. So getting back to an enemy that's going to have a pretty sizable fraction of your level in one go is very nice. Like we have 3,000 left after that, which is about a zombie and a half. So this would be a chance to get a level up. Five, 11 intelligence, stamina. We'll take those. First try. Alright, that was a little bit less than 4 zombies for that level up. I'm imagining that we can take these 2 battles back to back safely, and then it'll probably be level up on the fight after this. Oh yeah, 4-5-1. We have cut that one really close. That's like a quarter of a zombie D away. $269 on a single zombie. We get 29, 21 strength. Try again. Well, there's a third hide line go well. You're just lucky that I did not open up these challenges earlier in the year. Otherwise, it would have been even messier. All right, 2 here. We get 30, 21 strength luck. This is better than the eye grind. This is a chance to get some mega elixirs. So I think that there is a bunch of upside to doing some zombies. It is, in the long run, not as good for levels as the eye would be. All right, 29, 23 strength, stamina. See a couple of varieties here. If there's any different rolls. I don't think we've seen this formation yet. 82 on the first hit. 27, 23 strength. So it looks like that strength point's guaranteed. Not that strength really is all that much for a white mage. A strength point is something like 1/12 of a power glove use. So you need a lot of strength points in order for there to be a meaningful change to your combat. All right, 27, 23 strength, stamina. I think we saw that one before. Here's where it'd be kind of nice to have that big table of potential values. Though it'd be really, really hard to collect all the data for it. You'd have to have some amount of reverse engineering to kind of figure out what the formulas are for the game to crank through all the possibilities. I think trying to do it manually would be extremely tedious. All right, 29, 23 strength only. For zombie D, 271. It's hard to tell the difference because you get a lot of similar ones with a single zombie D. All right, 31, 22 strength. Give it a couple more tries. I think 545 would be a good cutoff for this level up. We can still afford to burn a couple levels here if we need to. I'm not too worried about missing out on the occasional intelligence point, as long as we get most of them. The 269 is a bit different. 31, 22 strength again. Double one. I think that's the opposite order that they attacked before. We definitely didn't have one survive. This is a very new pattern. 28, 23, strength, stamina. Might have to start spending extra turns in the battle at some point to see if we can mix it up that way. All right, 83, 34 going from the bottom. One survives. Nope. Both of them die here. 30, 22 strength. Still no intelligence points yet, but we're working on it. We will see what we get. I'd also have to think about, you get a Mega Elixir on the level up drop. Would you take a bad level up in order to take home a Mega Elixir from it? Because you also get Mega Elixir from the 15 puzzle. Maybe don't really need those all that badly here. 26, 22 strength, agility. That one's new. Hey, those Coles, welcome in. And welcome to the zombie portion of our White Mage. 2 levels down already. But we need more. We need so many more. 44, 76. I think we've seen that pair before. So I'm going to say take a round off. Get something new here. Because we definitely have not seen yet. (28, 22 strength, stamina). Keep trying for it. Northrex, welcome in. Hope everyone is having a good weekend here, enjoying our solo White Mage. We're at the point where the White Mage is already pretty powerful. So we don't have to worry too much about actual survival for much of the game until we get to Chaos. We can kind of deal with basically anything else that can throw at us. Splitting half, we get 28, 23 strength. Seeing a couple of patterns here. All right, so 545, let's take whatever the next one is. Gave it a good effort. We don't get the intelligence point. That is okay. We want that intelligence point. All right, 27, 22 strength, no intelligence point. Too bad. That's 37 down. Hopefully we get it next time. And this should not be a level up. It was a level up. All right. But we got intelligence points, so I'm taking it. Bailed out. All right. 8,000 for the next one. These things are chunky enough that if you get really close to a level, you might have enough of a fractional bit carryover from the previous one that it throws off the number of zombie Ds that we need for the next one. Which is a little bit annoying, but we're making it work. Back up here. This is why you've got effectively infinite MPs because you can hold 99 of these. And each ether is like 2 fights, so we are well equipped to do as much grinding as necessary. Given that there's really not that big of a spread for level ups throughout the second half of the game. It'll become even more apparent when we're doing the eye grind for our final round of level ups. That is going to be 32.25 apiece. A little bit more than these. Hey, nice intelligence point there. But, if this ends up being really successful, because the White Mage is perfectly capable of just destroying zombie Ds all day long, I wouldn't mind if we just did our level ups here. And then we could really zoom through the rest of the game. It should not be level up. This should be a level up. Keep the throw, welcome in. Thanks, Nilo. Thank you much for the good wishes there. We got a 6, 12, intelligence, luck. Another good one. There's probably a much higher number of guaranteed intelligence points for the White Mage compared to Red Mage, so this should go faster than Red Mage did. That makes it extra nice. I don't know if 3 is enough, but 5 is probably more than we need. I should save here before the next fight. We get a single, it may not be a level up. Double should be. Hopefully this better be an intelligence point. Matty Ice 316, welcome in. Thank you for the good wishes there. We got a 624 agility stamina. All right, another intelligence point that we got to actually work for. Let's get to it. If it's true that a single zombie does not level up, then that's a great way to mix up the RNG a bit. If we find a single, we can get a new batch of things. All right, 624 agility stamina, that's the exact same one. Hey, Crossroads Pony, welcome in. I hope you having a good time tonight. We're going to level up our White Mage here for our solo White Mage challenge. We're trying to get as many intelligence points as we can for these level ups. So basically, I'm parking right before level up. See what we got, 624 agility stamina again. Seen that one a couple times now. It's a 1 in 8 chance to get an intelligence point. However, if you get the exact same RNG value, then it's obviously going to give you the same numbers. So you gotta be a little bit careful to not completely duplicate your previous conditions. Makes it a bit tough. Hey, Ray Mushu, welcome in. All right, we get one for even a single 623 agility luck. So that's at least a new one. Kalonzo 2, welcome in. Thank you very much for the good wishes there. Hopefully we get some good Warmechs later. I don't think we've had a Warmech show up during any of these solo challenges so far. Not a lot of opportunities, but maybe one day it'll happen. All right, 2824 agility. I mean, you would get the strong gains there, but you're going to be fine for 999 even if you don't get those. At this point, we've banked enough good HP level ups that we don't need any more to be able to finish it off. We're well over halfway at well under halfway through the levels. Agility luck again. And you change the random values by wasting frames like on the NES version. That is a big difference for this version, where you have no change to the random number generator based on the time that you spend in battle. On the NES version, the reason that works is because every other frame, which is 1/3 of a second between these random numbers, you'll get a new random result. And well, there's only 206 possible values on the NES, which kind of limits the number of unique outcomes. You can very quickly get to different ones, and it's easy to mix things up really fast. Here you get the same results with the same inputs. All right, 624 agility, intelligence, stamina, there we go. That one wasn't too bad. Another one down. I need. Okay, so a double would get me a level up here. I think. Yeah. Now a single get me a level up. Hey, Captain Vittles, welcome in. 31, 12, intelligence. Stamina, let's go. 42 is done. Yeah, what pressing B on the NES version is doing is delaying a specific number of frames that's repeatable in a way that you can put the B button input in on the very first possible frame for that to happen. So it's actually feasible to get the results that you want. Getting Megalix, on the other hand, that is pure luck here. Megalix is a 1% drop. Right when we see him, we want to get a couple Megalixers, hopefully from the Zombie Ds. And if I get Megalixers in a decent quantity, then I don't even need to do the 15 puzzle anymore. Alright, should be one more Zombie D here. If we added a double there, that probably would have been good enough. Alright, 624 strength, intelligence, stamina, more good level ups. Had a very good range of levels for our White Mage recently. Only one that we had to burn so far in ordeals. HP is rocketing up. MP is rocketing up as well. Yeah, at some point we should see that damage number rocket up. Whenever we hit 50 intelligence, there's going to be another big jump about 50 damage, so I imagine it would go to like 325 or so. At that point, you're 100% killing zombies with Harm 3 every time. Alright, 625 strength, stamina, luck, no intelligence. We haven't been getting any off-tile encounters, which is kind of surprising. The encounter rate here is pretty high. And there's a single. So now we are one away on Zombies. Let's see how we do. 624 luck. All right, new result, but not what we want. Yep, that's the idea to test a hunter. I think if you max out your intelligence, it's going to be around 500 for Cure 3s, which would be enough that I wouldn't really need to have elixirs or mega elixirs or things other than an emergency panic button. 613 agility luck. So basically it takes away the whole need to kind of farm out the recovery items. And it does a lot of damage with the combat items as a bonus. But you don't get to 99. If you get close, then it's probably still going to be pretty good. Alright, 30, 13 stamina luck. Stamina is starting to be interesting just because it increases our physical defense by a bit. That's something that White Mage is going to not have a lot of naturally. The offensive combat stats we don't really care all that much about. Power Glove's going to fix everything. Intelligence we've got a pretty good beat on now. But stamina maybe could be good. Alright, 613 luck. Intelligence should be every 10 points even for this version re-entry. 13 strength. Intelligence luck. There we go. This version uses basically a multiplier system where the number of hits that a move has is going to be increased by 1 for all of your offensive magic. For healing magic, it seems like there are claims that it is a smooth curve rather than a stepped curve, which believable. I don't think we have done a whole lot of testing for it. Hey, welcome in from the Dragon Warrior Randomizer community. Hope you had a good time watching some Dragon Warrior games today. Hope you had a good time this weekend. Definitely enjoy our solo White Mage challenge. We're beating this game with one White Mage, and no, we are not getting class change. I'm just here to fight zombie dragons. And take home Zeus gauntlets. Hey, let's Pine Vard, welcome in. Battery LSD, welcome in. Thank you much for the good wishes there. All right, level up 624 intelligence. Nice, another intelligence point. We are trying to absolutely crush our intelligence score. The more, the better. Oh yeah, there it is. 338, 340. So we got the 50 int breakpoint right there. I need 750, so we can take at least another double. Should be able to take 3 here, so next battle is also safe. The idea for this grind is that the Voyage doesn't have a huge number of places where you can easily beat the enemies. It's also really nice when it's a trap tile, which means you don't have to spend a whole bunch of time walking around and getting the occasional bad fight. This is 100% predictable that you're either going to have 1 or 2 zombie Ds, which the White Mage can handily defeat. And for the random level ups, we want to see intelligence points. 6, 23, luck, did not get it. Gonna reset, try again. And Harm 2 kill the zombie Ds now. Harm 2 would probably be doing 175 before, and then probably like 220 now. I think would be pretty far off. We were just barely killing the zombie Ds with Harm 3 before that last breakpoint. Like every now and then, it would roll just a tiny bit short. But now we're well over with Harm 3. It's no longer in question. 613, nothing for stats. Probably at least 2 more breakpoints, I would guess, till Harm 2 can one-shot them. Alright, 613 luck this time. So 6 and 13 is the minimum rolls. Those are what we get just from our base stamina and intelligence scores. If you see a higher number than that, that means that we got a strong HP or strong MP gain. And like I said, on this level, none of the stats are guaranteed. Everything is a 1 in 8 chance. 7 independent rolls for it. 613 luck again. Intelligence for the big Cure 3. Yeah, the Cure 3 spell shouldn't need a multiple of 10. It just is looking for a large-ish value. Somewhere near max is going to be like 500 plus healing on a Cure 3, which is extremely good. 350 was happening with the Red Mage around 58, which is what we are at right now. 613 agility, at least a new stat. Give us about a couple minutes, and if it doesn't happen, then we will burn it and try the next level up. I've got a little bit of wiggle room and still can hit max int. And for attack spells, which are using the multiplier system, you don't need to max. You just need to get whatever the multiplier is. All right, 613 luck again. The White Mage with 90 on the Holy Spell. Well, it's 80% as good as Nuke. It's actually a little bit less because Nuke is more damage and also a higher critical hit rate. But it's in that ballpark. So imagine what a Black Mage could do. And then imagine that if you went to the Final Fantasy V bonus dungeon, you get a staff that casts Nuke whenever you want. Be kind of fun to get. Alright, 613. There's the intelligence point. All right, another one down. Hey, Darnell. There's a lot of problems with Dan. Luckily, he's getting smarter by the second. Get back up again. We are rapidly catching up on MP versus HP here, which looks kind of funny. It previously was a very big disparity, with HP being super good. They're both going to hit 999 in not too much longer. Right, where's that level up? 47's coming pretty soon. All right, 29, 25. Agility, there's the intelligence point. So heal here. So we went from 383 all the way to 720. So we have a pretty good amount of healing there. Kind of confirms that 350 for the Red Mage at 50 intelligence is about what we get here. In this version of the game, it doesn't matter what character class you are, but it does matter what your intelligence score is for the results of spells. So you no longer have melee characters able to be awesomely good with a Thor hammer or a heal staff or things. They are going to have their spells basically scaled up or down based on their current intelligence score, which tends to not be very good for most melee characters. All right, we'll do a little experiment, see what Lit 2 does on these. They are resistant to it. We got a pretty good intelligence score, so maybe it'll be still decent damage. They're definitely very fast compared to our White Mage, which is concerning. All right, about mid-90s. These the man cats. Are these the Catman? Are these the Dan cats? Is it possible that they have lost their fancy hats? Or have they just been murdered? That is possible too. Also, to this point, we've only gotten one Mega Elixir, which is a little bit sad. Next one should we level up? We had very good luck with the last couple of characters going through here, getting a couple Mega Elixirs in a fairly short amount of time. Well, this will be fine. We don't need that many. 624 stamina. We got a very high intelligence score, then the value of elixirs and Mega Elixirs goes down. I don't know if single's enough. Probably be close. Alright, we can level up here on a single 614 stamina. Oh, those are going to be rolling at their minimums. We bumped our intelligence minimum up from 13 to 14. That means we just hit 52 intelligence. 25 stamina luck. You know, we don't need to get a specific goal. We just need to get as many intelligence points as we possibly can. So each level up, I am trying to get an intelligence point if possible. If it takes too long, you know, maybe just not getting the good random seeds that you need in order to get the intelligence point proc, then you can burn level and go for the next one. But if I do that too many times, then I lose a multiplier permanently. I guess not truly permanently. If you went to the bonus dungeons, there are items called Mine Pluses that appear randomly, and those would increase your intelligence points by 1. Take a very long time to farm. We are not doing that. But it could be done. For the agility stamina. Get up to 610. That'll be our cutoff for this level. Okay, tier 2, not quite at 200 yet. But getting there. For a couple of touch points, I'll probably be at 200. Alright, how about this one? 614 agility stamina. Couple more tries at it. I think I've seen most of the level ups that are going to be obtainable from a fresh load. 58 is the number right now. I think that is slightly higher than what our red mage had. Either or it's exactly equal. At 614 stamina. 2 more tries. Two rounds here. We could probably do a bunch with one extra turn, seeing if those make for interesting different results. But because I'm cutting this off here at a certain point, not just trying to go forever for each level up, don't need to be super exhaustive for exploring. It's 14 stamina luck. Okay, at least we're getting a couple of different results here. Shinryu and Omega. Yeah, the black belt did Omega. And then red mage did both. Not that we really did a whole bunch of extensive trials on it, so it is certainly possible that the other character classes could have beaten both of the bosses. You would probably want to farm more recovery items for safety in some of those. But red mage was the one that we had the time to do 2 trips through the entire dungeon. At 614, intelligence at the buzzer. Level 48's done. Another win in the books. How do you feel about this versus the eye grind? The eye, probably you can use less resources doing it. So that's kind of nice. This one you might actually get more variety because you do have both the single and the double zombies showing up periodically. Both dungeons do have encounters off the trap tile, so it is in theory feasible to try to pull out other things, although the eye is in a really precarious spot surrounded by all those pits. You probably don't want to try and wiggle your way to more encounters. All right, here we go. 724 strength, intelligence. All right, one done. On level 50. At a certain point, you might just want to let it rip and see what you get for the scores. Like if we're in the mid-50s at level 50 here, and the White Mage is getting a pretty decent number of intelligence points pretty easily, I bet if we just went to level 99 and didn't even check for things, we'd at least hit 70, which would be a fair bit better than what the Red Mage had. And 70 would be pretty powerful. That's the maximum level. Level 99 is the maximum. So there's doubled levels. You get fewer guaranteed points on the way. 14 luck. So while it is a much bigger range, and that's going to mean that you get way more HP and MP guaranteed. The other stat points are roughly scaled so it's a little bit more, but not double what you have on NES. All right, 30, 14, intelligence, luck, 50 is done. I think we've done 20 levels in like 50 minutes. It goes pretty fast. You do not need a lot of fights to get a level up. The nice thing about the eye as well, 3,225 experience above the eye is probably, what, a zombie D and a half worth of experience? It goes even faster for the singles. The average amount for these zombie fights is right around what the eye would be. It just gets a little bit messier. Alright, yeah, we are less than one zombie D away. So this is a level up. $725 stamina, no intelligence point. Alright, deadline for this one's going to be 620, but we're not going to need it. We're going to get the intelligence point right here. First try. Just like that. Done. Right, normal dragons had to be killed to populate this castle with this many zombie dragons. Well, Ivan the Cow. Remember that we have already played with the Black Belt. There were many corpses left in our wake. And they were all punched. The level I'm going to, I don't have a specific level target here, but my original intention was to maybe go up to like level 50 here. Go for the Mega Elixirs. We only got one, which is a bit unfortunate. And then do the rest of the grinding in the Ice Cave with the eye. But this is working out pretty well. And other than taking more ethers per level, it doesn't seem like there's really that much of a downside to doing the grind here. And you get the upside of more Mega Elixirs potentially. Alright, 715 intelligence. Level up done. So in theory, White Mage could go to level 99 at the zombies. And in theory, Black Mage could as well. Black Mage would have the Fire 3 spell, and that would be doing even more damage than Harm 3. This might be too much experience. May have made a mistake not saving there. Rank the Jelly Stamina. It was a good level up. But we're not taking it. Alright, so 4 zombie Ds is the most that we can safely take. Hey, look at Jim, welcome in. Thanks for the good wishes and hope you enjoy the continued adventures of our White Mage. This time we get to murder dragons. This time I'm going to remember to save before the next fight because a double zombie at this point would put me over. And what's nice about these solo challenges on GBA is saving anywhere really takes a lot of the downside out of pushing yourself in adventures. If you make a bad choice on NES, you are really hosed so hard. But wait, White Mage here, you know, on GBA, it's a lot nicer. All right, 29, 25, agility, stamina. I mean, very good level up, but not what we want. What'll be interesting to see is how big of an impact GBA has on the Thief. Compared to PlayStation, which has all the bugs fixed, and mostly buff bosses, although Chaos on PlayStation only at 4,000 health instead of 20,000. There's going to be a big difference there. There we go, there's the intelligence point. I want to see how much better GB is, because the 15 puzzle items are going to let us kill Astos so much better. I think it's going to be 20 hours shorter. Yeah, maybe. Depends on how much work it takes to level up the Thief. I don't even know what the Thief really needs, to be honest, for stats. Early game, we're going to do some strong HP levels so that we get more hit points. But the Thief is pure melee combat. I guess Thief needs intelligence for using items. 15 agility. Nope. Close though. Mr. Sock Monkey. Thank you guys for resubscribing back for 56 months. Welcome in. Thank you for the good wishes there. Thief might look a lot like the Mage, is just not as good. There we go, intelligence point done. I think we're one away from our breakpoint for the next increase in damage here. This is the fight where we get it. .25 strength. Look, oh, we got a Mega Elixir, but no intelligence point. Alright, I'm taking that. We will wait another level up for our breakpoint. The Mega Elixir is pretty good too. It's a 1% chance. And I'd rather reroll for another couple level ups than reroll for 1%. I mean, I could get enough Mega Elixirs from the 15 puzzles. I probably don't need these. But, you know, why not? Oh, Wedge 1. You need to know that. It's going to be on the test later. So you better study the diagrams very, very carefully. And this time we better get an intelligence point. We have earned it. I want that breakpoint. Intelligence. All right, D6 is done. Oh, Medusa, you have made a mistake. Dan's Math Defense is really, really amazing. I did not truly understand how much buffing they gave to the White Mage Math Defense in this version of the game. But we basically do not get hit by anything for status elements. Except for the very, very rare critical hits. Data, welcome in. Thanks for the good wishes there, PC Man. Thank you as well for the good wishes. Yes, we need 10,000. We got plenty of room here. You see my defense in this first game? Nope. It's still a hidden stat, but evidently they doubled the increase at each level up for the White Mage on magic defense, combined with the fact that you have double the number of levels. So we are really, really good at blocking magic. There we go, 27, 28, agility, no intelligence point. Yeah, I don't think we get the multiplier there. Next level is probably the multiplier. We did miss one level up for the Mega Elixir. Wow, it takes a long time to use these ethers now. Too bad they don't have like a high ether for sale in this game. You can get a very, very tiny number of better than regular ethers, but they still last a really long time. All right, 728 agility, stamina, no intelligence. Basically, the way that the stat gains work is it splits into two categories. There are the guaranteed stats, where you get them every single level up, regardless, like magic defense, base HP and MP gains. And when you double the number of levels, those go through the roof. So HP, MP, magic defense are phenomenally good. Accuracy is another one like that. You get a fixed amount of accuracy every single level up. And double the number of levels, and you're just going to max it out. The variable gains have been kind of tuned. So things like strength points, where you do not get a guaranteed one every single level up. Those are now spaced out quite a bit more. So I think you get something like maybe 20% more than you do in the NES version, but it's very tough to get actually double the amount. And so if you do get double, like manipulate level ups like this for the intelligence points, then the numbers get really, really silly. And if our number of intelligence points could increase by 1 here, that would be phenomenal. Just about a couple more tries. We've had some really good runs with very fast intelligence levels. Agility again. And I think we're still at a pace where I could hit 99, although it's getting very, very tight. Agility again. Go ahead and try and make some new random results with combat moves. The next round. Let's see if this is better. 6 agility. Nope, it's the same. All right, a couple more tries at it. I'll do 2 more attempts at this level up. And then we'll move on to the next one if that does not succeed. Here's one will come in. Thank you for the good wishes there. Enjoy our solo White Mage playthrough tonight. And 26 agility. There's the intelligence point. All right, 57's done. Grab a couple more of these. Took a couple minutes to get here, so that's pretty roughly an hour. And I think we started at level 30. So 27 levels in about an hour. Seems like a very, very fast pace. All right, 32-16. I mean, it's a lot of points. Alright, so Rian Demon, looks like you are correct with this for GBA version as well. I didn't think that was in GBA. I thought there was a flat 10-point curve in this one. But good to know. Well then, if that means we can only get a smallish number of breakpoints left for our attack spells, I wonder if the same thing happens with the healing spells in terms of slowing down, if it's a linear formula with healing all the way up. There goes 716. Not that impressive level. I started Zombie Dragons last night. Nope, we started on Zombie Dragons tonight. Last night ended with the collection of the canoe. There's 716 there. If we are actually capped at a slowish pace here, and if that also impacts curing, which that I do not know about, then I might be somewhat incentivized to just blast through to 99 and not really worry about the remaining point gains. So we've done a very, very good percentage just with the natural ones that we pick up here. That's 62 now. We would probably end up pretty close to like the high 80s, low 90s, I would guess. Yeah, we'll definitely see it 66, it looks like. It'll be 66, 82, and 98 for the last three. That's also at some point what my Cure 3 is doing at this point. I gotta level up 728 strengths. Stamina. Try again. If we do have the slower curve, I think that would be pretty good news for people that want to see Chaos defeated tonight, and maybe even a bonus boss. That would be dramatically speeding up the remaining leveling. 26 strength, agility, stamina, luck, everything except for intelligence. You know what? I'm taking that one. It's a pretty good level up. Point, I am kind of feeling like letting it rip. We still only have the one. Oh, we got the second elixir. We did get a second drop after so many zombies. So Mega Elixir count is probably doing okay-ish. If I took Mega Elixirs only from zombies, and then you get 2 naturally in the game. Get the elixir, get the X potion. Turby through there, I would say we'd be in very good shape without having to do any 15 puzzle farming. But I would want an emergency exit. Alright, 716 luck. Feels out to be fishing for intelligence when those are completely useless before. It's kinda okay in some ways, making intelligence do things. It definitely changes the dynamics quite a lot because it heavily affects how other character classes can use magic weapons. So you are, in a way, kind of nerfing all of the melee classes by doing this. And it's also nerfing the Red Mage, who has a pretty bad intelligence growth rate, because their multipliers are going to be never nearly as good as White Mage and Black Mage. Black Mage is going to be even better than White Mage here. If we do the same kind of grind with Black Mage, it would be many more guaranteed ones. Agility, there's the intelligence point and the luck point as well. So our cure through at 315 right now. That was 391. So we're still less than 400 on a cure 3. I would kind of like more than that, but we are pretty handily out healing nearly all the boss's moves. And White Mage has really good magic defense. That's usually the biggest way that bosses can kind of poke through all of your health, is that you get the improved evasion and protection up, so their physical attacks are useless, but their magic still hits pretty hard. And that might be solved here. 28 agility, there's another intelligence point. We'll take that as well. 64 now. Don't know if it's 2 zombies or 3 zombies from this point. Just in case, we'll save there. This one should be the up. Strengths, stamina, no intelligence. Quickly try to blast through these last 2. I think my revised plan is to go up to 66 here. And then just take the level ups from that till the end of the game with whatever we get, and not try to manipulate the rest of them. Should end up somewhere in the 80s. Hopefully high 80s. Maybe even low 90s if you get really good level ups. I don't know what the White Mage is guaranteed for the last roughly third of the game worth of levels. There we go. Point done. One more to go. So this has also put us around 400 Cure 3 healing overall, which is a little bit lower than I wanted. I wanted 500, but it will probably get some more points from the remaining level ups. So if we kind of glide into 500 at the end, that would be pretty okay. All right, 817, got more breakpoints, strength, stamina. But if we can glide into 82, yeah, 82 for the black magic spells. But it seems like white magic would continue to have value past that. And technically black magic at 98 would have another breakpoint as well. You are getting diminishing returns, as you do have less and less percentage improvement from each of the additional multipliers. But it would still be something. It's also nice that we're fast enough to outspeed most things here. There's the intelligence point. 63 is done. Let's see our new White Mage damage number. Do we get 400? Oh yeah, 400 has been reached. All right, at this point, we are just letting it rip. I'm going to probably not go to 99 right away because we will have more encounters that are unavoidable throughout the rest of the game. So if I go up to like level 90 something, then we'll just cruise at a 99 by the end from stuff that we have to fight as a consequence of completing the adventure here. But that will dramatically speed up the remaining levels. We should be level 90 like in the next half hour. And we don't even have to look at the points. MP's at 999, so that's maxed out. HP's got another couple levels to go. And this is zero work at manipulating MP. It's just a side effect of manipulating out our intelligence points, which gives me really, really high guaranteed MP per level. Another thing to think about is, do you switch the eyes here? The eye would be more consistent XP. I think zombie average XP is very similar, and over this many zombie Ds, it probably doesn't make much of a difference. And zombie D would give you Mega Elixirs. Hopefully, one day we will see Mega Elixir number 3. Good enough for Diara now. Diara should be... Ooh, would be getting close. I think it's about 60 to 75% as good as Diaga. And we need to have somewhere like 270. Nice intelligence point there. Give the harm to a try. See, the cheaper option is better. 286. Okay. Yeah, you are just a little bit over. It's not quite totally safe there, but it looks like maybe. Yeah, 289, 293. That's probably higher than when we had the Diaga that was right on the borderline. We'll take that. You do all the extra content as a solo White Mage. I am pretty certain you could J-Win 250. There's nothing I can think of for any of the bonus bosses that this White Mage would not be able to beat. And the reason is because you can pretty much make yourself immune to physical damage. The amount of spell damage you take is going to be pretty minimal compared to other character classes. With the Power Glove, you can do ridiculous amounts of damage to yourself, and speed drinks if you have to. I'm not going to farm out a whole bunch of haste items for every single bonus boss. You could, it'd be tedious. So you have all the defense you need, you have all the offense you need. You got the Mega Elixirs you need, there's a third Mega Elixir there. Bonus bosses that ignore protections, well, even if it ignores elemental protection, magic defense should still apply. Which means the White Mage is going to be better than anybody that doesn't have super maxed out magic defense at that point. I imagine everyone gets very high magic defense if you go up to level 99. But White Mage would get there much faster. And maybe there are character classes that don't make it. Like Black Belt without class change, I guess, would be getting kind of poor results. But I think even in that case, you are getting very close to maxed. Up there. Leveling in the GBA version can kind of surprise you. Like, you go for like 5 minutes, and you're not really seeing anything because you don't get any HP or MP recovery for the levels that you get. But if you look at the max number, the max is going up really fast. Intelligence point picked up. And maybe that stretch we've gotten 50% levels with intelligence points. It felt like it was maybe like 1 in 3 were getting first tries, and at least 50% were doing it within 2 tries when we were kind of grinding those out. And I kind of remember that Red Mage had a pretty good stretch near the end, like unexpectedly. A large number of first try intelligence points, which could be a sign that many more are guaranteed near the end of the game for some reason. That was 415 on our Cure 3 spell. We're at least into the 400s now. HP is over 900. Alright, so good news. White Mage is definitely finishing tonight. I was initially concerned. Once again, it seems like these characters are going faster than projected. We're going to have White Mage leveling done around the time that Red Mage finished the game. And from here, we have to do a lot of running, a lot of questing, but we're not going to do a lot of fighting. So that should make things kind of nice. Let's see what we do with these gauntlets now that we've got another multiplier. It was 95 or so before. There's an enemy that resists lit too, so it'll be pretty much a flat result. Yeah, about 118. So enough to one-shot Mancats now. For the lit 2 spell, they do not even take bonus damage still. So, you know, this White Mage is cooking. Lit 2 is going to be good enough for most things that we're going to have to face that are unrunnable. Got the Sahags, we've got Harm for the Ghosts. Water Elementals, Lightning is not the best option. Although if we do a pretty good size roll with it, I can probably 2-shot Water Elementals with that Zeus Gauntlet. Black Shirt would 1-shot them, but that's going up to Sky Castle before you do Sea Shrine, which doesn't make any sense. You can at least do top half of Sea Shrine, and if you're in the top half, you might as well finish it. Do you ever need fire for any unrunnables? It would be an unrunnable that was not undead, so you couldn't use the harm spell on it. I don't think there's any out there. Because you could, in theory, skip the Mage Staff. It's so close to your walking path that you might as well just pick it up. But in theory, it could be skipped. Let's firework on Warmech. You know what's going to work on Warmech? Violence. Lots and lots of violence. It would be nice if our White Mage got a Warmech encounter. It's pretty hard to get it by chance. They unfortunately have made Warmech more difficult to find, similar to how it was in the original Famicom version. And so anytime that you do like a full Bestiary playthrough, Warmech is one of the enemies that is kind of painful to get. I think the last few full Bestiaries on different versions, Warmech has been possibly the slowest monster to get. Feels like Iron Golems are more popular now, so they're not nearly as bad. T-Rex, for whatever reason, doesn't seem to take very long. But Warmechs take forever. Okay, 2 hours to find Warmech and Pixar Master Valkyr. Yeah, I think when I did the Pixar Master all achievements, Warmech was like 45 minutes. I'm pretty certain it was the longest single hunt for a monster in the entire game. That has been generally true for GBA and PSP all Beastery playthroughs as well. I mean, I kind of like it in some ways. The Warmech appearance rate is uncomfortably high in the NES version. My theory has always been they boosted up as part of the Take a Picture with Warmech contest. They realized at 1 in 64 people would just never find Warmech. It's a neat Easter egg, but they wanted to have like a sizable base of people that could actually interact with it. But the consequences of that have left untold generations scarred. Let me check my level at the next level up here. See how we're doing overall. Level 77. We've gotten 47 levels since coming in here. A little bit less than 90 minutes. And a lot of those levels were manipulated out, so they were way more labor intensive. We might have like 15 minutes left for the levels to go. Maybe 10 if we want to end a little bit earlier and rely on the rest of the game's worth of random encounters to take us to 99. So looking very good. When I first was thinking about this, just in terms of planning purposes, I wasn't quite certain whether I would have enough ethers to get to 99. Now, obviously, it's going to be very, very easy. But a big part of that is just that when you first get here, the enemies outspeed you by a fair bit. And so you tend to take a lot of beatings before winning fights. So not only are you using the bigger, more energy-intensive spells, you're also doing a lot of healing. Now then, once we got around to like maybe like level 45 or so, it felt like we were outspeeding them a pretty good number of times. A nice big elixir drop there. That's number 4, I think. And then once we got to like level 60, that was pretty much like the last time the zombies ever went first. And here's one of the pluses of an unrunnable encounter is that unrunnables never have ambushes, or first strikes for that matter. And so you get the advantage of it always being a neutral start. Which means if you heavily outspeed the enemy, they just never get a turn. It's okay drops with Mega Elixirs. I want to say that Black Belt and Red Mage both had something like 3 Mega Elixirs in 30 minutes. But both of them had something like 2 Mega Elixirs in the first 10 worth of dragons. Like, stupidly good luck for the beginning. To the point where if you had just left it alone, it would look like you're doing phenomenally well. This one is probably averaging a Mega Elixir every... If I wasn't doing the manipulations, by 15 minutes worth of grinds. So a little bit slower, going from 10 minutes per Mega Elixir to 15. But it didn't ever have that really, really nice clumpy bit. It feels especially good near the start. Then at 998 hit points. Where did Dan lose the last hit point? That is very irresponsible of him. Alright, hit point increased by 1. We got it. Dan dropped it in the corner. Alright, so HP maxed out. MP is maxed out. We're still getting normal stats. Strength, stamina, even intelligence is going to have a ways to go here. But a lot of the kind of compound stats, HP, MP, magic defense should all be maxed out. Accuracy should be maxed out at this point. I haven't checked because, let's be honest, the White Mage with a silver hammer is kind of sad, even with all of these additional statistical bonuses. But it's probably at 255 by now. If it's not, we're going to have to have a serious conversation with Dan about his sword skills. Mazmoon's got a pretty solid accuracy bonus. Even if you top out around like 200, you can probably get the rest of the way there with the Mazmoon. So imagining every character class goes to 255. All done. Gonna check my level again after this. See how we're doing on those. Last check-in was 77. It is now level 83. And it's a very bad idea to interrupt Dan's zombie farming. He does not like that. Like one more good healthy sized chunk of levels. And that is all we're gonna need here. So a little bit around the 7-hour mark is about when we're gonna be done with Zombie Days. I am predicting that we have roughly 90 minutes to get basically blitz through most of the storyline parts of the game. Be a little bit longer than that because I'm probably going to farm out an emergency exit from the 15 puzzle. If we're going to have time to do bonus bosses, I want to be able to do that after we get to Chaos. Well, that's pretty much the only kind of detour that would be left. So I could see being done around 9 hours. That means he's going to turn only if Dan wants to be polite. Which he usually doesn't. Sometimes you just have to ask. Interesting to see how close we are to that next intelligence breakpoint. If there was 16 levels to go at the last check-in, I would imagine that 6 of the 16 get a first try intelligence point, maybe as high as 8, but somewhere in that range. So if we had gotten 10 intelligence points up until then, we would be potentially able to get that 82. If we had more than 10, I do see the occasional intelligence point popping up there. Then we would be possibly pushing that 90 mark. But it's going to be worth it. A future point in time to see what our Cure 3s are doing. Guess I'll do that like right at the very end. Once we have everything all buttoned up. Check our Cure 3 number. Last time I checked it was 415. I imagine it's probably pushing closer to 450 when we wrap the zombie Ds. And if that's the case, that would be good enough for me. Well done. Haven't hit the breakpoint yet, so we don't really not get 16. We've definitely got a much. When did I start doing the all-out grinding? I think it was 61. So that would be roughly 24 levels we picked up since then. So I imagine we're at like plus 10 intelligence points. So we're around 76. So good. All right, what's the 7-hour mark? Hunting down our last few zombies here. They've been so good. All right, next level up is going to be where we stop for our zombie grind. JF0, welcome in. Good wishes. Hope you enjoy the solo White Mage playthrough. We are nearly done with the big zombie grind. And that means we're about to turn a whole lot of bosses into dust. Don't look involved anymore. It's gonna be actually very, very straightforward up until we get to Chaos. All right, Dan, get the level up. Let's see what the number is for my Cure 3 spell here. Open for 450 plus. 438, okay, so a little bit short of what I wanted. It can probably get pretty close to 450 by the end of the game. But it's not looking like we're gonna hit to 500. In any case, zombie dragons. Done. And unfortunately, after all that time, Dan forgot to pick up the tail. What a blunder. Maybe we'll go back for it later. As a massive improvement here, you can see that not only are we running away very easily, but the enemies are running away as well, which means we don't have to even worry about nearly as many of their random turns. Enemies with poor morale scores are going to be pretty much the rest of the game, except for Sea Shrine for some reason. Sea Shrine enemies have a really, really good morale, and I was kind of surprised when I first found that out, because it's better morale than the enemies in Mirage Tower and the desert area around there, which you would logically think later in the game they would be less prone to run. But if you ever need to grind in the NA's version, where you're getting up to those high levels and the encounters just refuse to stick around, Sea Shrine, the Gersharks are 0.9 of an Agama. That's a pretty good spot. Alright, Ether's maxed out. All those are maxed out. We get 4 Mega Elixirs. Not incredible, but it's a number. And for some reason, Dan has come home from castle ordeals with these 3 mysterious ghosts. We have no idea who those are. And we hope not to find out. Alright, let's go to the ice cave. This is going to be a nice and relaxing ice cave. I bet we are still going to fail to run to probably the images. Even if you are ridiculously fast. There are some weird enemies. Maybe not even like super high level ones. Like I can understand frost dragons being pretty powerful. They're not the top end of dragons, but they are at least in a pretty high monster class. Alright. Those being faster than you at level 99. Awesome. These things being faster. I don't know about that. This challenge on the NES is more difficult. It is way more difficult on the NES. GBA is probably the first version where I am going to believe that all 6 character classes are pretty easy. Up until this point, the Thief has always been an absolutely miserable and horrible experience. But I believe GBA Thief is going to be much, much improved. And even on PlayStation, pretty much the other 5 character classes are all at least decent. This is even better than that, I would say. You have a very, very smooth ride for the beginning compared to a lot of the other versions. Just more buffs to your starting stats. And a lot of conveniences from the 15 puzzle items that you can get. But PlayStation was fairly nice for Fighter, Black Belt, Red Mage, White Mage, and Black Mage. And NES, very much not so. NES, Fighter is not bad. Black Belt is intensely painful for the first little stretch of the game. Getting up to Bicky as a Black Belt is half of the game. Roughly like just time-wise that you spend for a complete run. So you can imagine that it's fighting a lot of imps. And the mages actually are not bad at the start, but because the level caps are much lower, and the MP restriction is there, and your stat growth is not particularly good, the mages really need to have like everything very manipulated out, or else it becomes nearly a ridiculously hard challenge. And for Thief, there's just no options available. It's like, you can manipulate everything you want, it's still gonna suck. Alright, yep, couldn't run. I'm really surprised that most of these are sticking around. Try again. The Wraith is actually the image. Or, yeah, Wraith should be Image and Spectre is Wraith? It's something like that. But in any case, they are gonna die. You know, with the 15 puzzle, if not for the strategy guide, it's in the manual. There's nothing in-game for it, but it is a well-known enough thing that it is part of the official documentation about this. And then the very, very minimal push B select for the world map as evolved into just being like, it's in the menu. You don't even need to know the secret code for it. Let's try for our first loop. Nice prep, I'm able to kill them. I want to, but I don't have to. As for our pal the eye. This is going to be satisfying. One intelligence point obtained. And a floater. I also got one of those. Gonna do loop through the ice cave. We don't have a travel spell because, well, we haven't class changed, but later on, we are going to continue to not class change, which will complicate those later dungeons by a little tiny bit. You can farm out the emergency exit from the 15 puzzle, which would save you a bit of time here. Now do these loops around, having to escape from the earth cave after beating the vampire, or from the waterfall after picking up the item from the robot. But for the most part, those are going to be fast enough since we can just run for everything that will save so much time over saves coming through this. Like, if you're not super high level, you're pretty much taking 5 steps like that. Another save. If you get an encounter on the way, you reload. And that's actually faster than trying to do all the fights. Because the encounter rate is really high. Most of the monsters are pretty tough to run from for most character classes. Thief does have an advantage at running, because Thief is, if nothing else, a coward. But it's really nice when you don't have to worry about that nearly as much. Like, there's probably still some stretches where saves coming makes sense, especially in parts of Temple of Fiends, where you might get a lot of unrunnables or really, really fast monsters that you can't run from. But up until then, we can kind of just zoom through this. Save like every floor or two. Just in case Dan has an accent. Does Dan row the canoe solo? Dan is a very talented mage. And well, we have no idea what those talents are. When we find out, it's going to be real impressive. Time to take our airship. Now, I don't have a lot of money, and that's because I did the grinding on the zombies, who give you way less cash than the eye does. The eye gives you basically equal amounts of experience and gold, and very few other enemies are going to be that generous. But I don't think that's a big deal, because we aren't going to be buying any spells here for our White Mage. I can need to buy a Pro Ring, a bottle. I'll probably pick up some items from the vendor that you can use as combat buffs. I will probably never use those items, but I will pick those up. I can still pick up the airship. Alright. I will come back and do the 15 puzzle near the end of the game. The only reason I'm going to be doing the 15 puzzle is to get an emergency exit so that we can do the bonus bosses after beating Chaos. Otherwise, I would be totally done with 15 puzzles here. Alright, finest bottle fairy, please. And for these, I mean, we could just max them out, I think. There's no reason we can't. Here we go. Alright. Need that. Or that. Honestly, not going to need potions, but we'll keep those. Dan does have a crippling potion addiction after all. Or that money is basically done. Alright, after I buy the Pro Ring, money is basically done. Goodbye, Nice Fairy. You were very expensive. All of these spells are totally unusable without class change. recurring picked up. Means our gloves can be disposed of at some point here. I got high potions? I did. Alright, so other stuff I could max out. This is not really important. We'll just skip all that. I was thinking maybe grab some antidotes, but I don't remember the last time we got poisoned. It has definitely been a while. So I bet 12 was going to be enough to finish the game. Never thought about buying bottles in the NS version. So the randomizer lets you buy more copies of quest items. Which is why I sometimes do that, especially if you can buy them in bulk. It's way more efficient that way. And it does actually keep track of the number. It's just not visibly displayed. So if you want to get more than 99 of a quest item, it cannot do that. I don't know why I parked so far away. It's fine. We got the exercise. Now we're going to get our items out of the waterfall. Ribbon is going to be a big one. Defense sword is going to be a nice one. That means that the Blink Spy bot has been used like maybe twice and can now be deleted. To be fair, the mute spell probably used even less than that. But it was used, and that's important. Level 91, here we go. Do that. Coming through. These bats are unfathomably in bounds. You may have believed that if you looked hard enough, and if the moon was just right, that there could possibly be just one bat that was not hideously flapping in your way, but no. I can assure you, all of these bats, every last one of them, is going to be so in bounds that you're going to need a crowbar to get through these hallways. We're near the ribbon. And the cube. Alright, here's my slight dilemma. I would like to have the power glove for fighting carry. But that requires going all the way through the sea shrine. It also requires this robot to get out of the way, which is more of a problem than I thought. So the question is, do I bother or just do Kraken first? And I'm thinking we should probably just do Kraken first. Put that ribbon on. So we are Opal bursted away from being mostly covered with equipment. We got a pro cape as well at the very, very end of the game. We got a defense sword that's going to go up here for right now. You know what? Yeah. I was going to say maybe we go and do carry with the wizard staff, but we're fine. We're just going to do Kraken first. It'll all work out in the end. Carry first is kind of just a little bit arbitrary for how you want to do this middle section. You are going to be on NES not really getting that much of a power boost going through Sea Shrine because it's just at this stretch a ribbon and pretty much nothing else. But the remakes that have a functioning Power Glove, that's when you first get a very, very good increase to your melee abilities for any character class that is not naturally gifted. So it is kind of nice to get that out of the way as quickly as you can. When you pick up the Power Glove, that is basically like one floor away from Kraken, so you might as well just finish it. If Power Glove was up at the top half, where the mermaids are, then you might think about splitting it into two pieces, even if you do have to take a big overall walk in between. But it's the opposite way. That was a 443 on the Cure 3. That's getting really close to 450. Maybe not to 500, but 450 I could see pretty plausibly. Sea Shrine, here we go. Yeah, the TV actually get heal 3 here, which is very, very nice that you do not need a class change to use heal 3. That way, if you get damaged by this very spooky ghost mermaid, you'd be totally fine. And then you can get into the barrel. Simply Jeff, welcome in. Hope you're having a good time tonight. Enjoy the solo White Mage playthrough. It is going to be going through this stretch really, really fast. I'm predicting that we will be finishing the game in time to get some bonus dungeons at the end. That means White Mage. Gonna have to decide between Shinru and Omega, perhaps. Both are pretty good fights. I think it would be fun to do Shinru with the White Mage. I feel like Shinru is slightly harder than Omega. I don't think I really need it, but while I'm here, I'm going to grab this Mage Staff. Just in case it ever becomes relevant. I just can't think of any unrunnable fire-weak monster that is not also undead that we're lucky to run into. That can't just be like trivially killed with any other element. Does Omega not counterattack? No. It uses Wave Cannon, which is going to hit everybody for a fixed amount of damage, basically. So that one is kind of like a continuous HP leak. It's got a really massive physical attack. But everything else you can kind of blunt down to the point where you're not really in that much danger. It's just very, very hard to get set up on. And with Wave Cannon doing a lot of AoE damage, you kind of need somebody that has AoE heals, which is the White Mage. But we're in time for some slimes. We might make time for that. Got our bracelet on. We have picked up the slab for some reason. For a giant fur wolf, okay. That is one that you probably would have a hard time one-shotting the fur giants without fire. Fur wolf you could easily kill with Zeus Gauntlet or any other Lit 2 ability. But yeah, it's believable. I mean, our Lit 2 does do a lot of damage here. It would probably be a 2-shot. But I will allow that one. And one ability here would be the natural one for the ice spell. Unfortunately, I don't have it yet. But you can also see water elementals in Temple of Faith of the Past. So it would be fine to have that as a preventive measure to make that a little bit better. Blind Empire, welcome in. Hope you're having a good evening here. About to see. Which of our fiends is in the Sea Shrine? It might be Carrie, you don't know. What if it's randomized? Let's try out the Zeus Gauntlet on the water mental. See how this feels. Yeah, it's a pretty easy 2-shot. Definitely a 1-shot with the black shirt. What we need here is the power glove and nothing else. Already got a ribbon. Don't need any of the boxes. I think you're set. Move with Kainazo, well, that's why we brought the lightning. Yep, there's a nuke staff in the Final Fantasy V dungeon. It's the middle boss. So we would actually get that as part of going down to face either Shinru or Omega. Goes up there. We got our maid staff here as well. Really confusing number of gauntlets, but I will allow that. Let's put the ethers up here. Those are pretty popular still. All right, that should be everything that we need here. Along with some very spooky ghosts that we definitely did not need. The Nuke Sword and the Holy Sword. The swords are the Final Fantasy VI ones, I believe. Don't think any of those are available from Final Fantasy V. Well, the Nuke Staff definitely is. The other really good one I'd love to have is the Heal 2 Staff, but that is probably not worth bothering with. As a White Mage, you have pretty good healing with your Cure 3s. It'd just be more MP friendly to pop off a heal for like 300. Not have to worry about running out of MP on it. Well, just because I've got 99 ethers right now doesn't mean that we don't need 99 ethers after we beat Chaos. We're going to save these. They could be valuable. Ready to fight Fiend number 2. It's a little bit out of order, but we're doing our best here. It's Kraken time. Moderately painful. But each of these protects is going to reduce his damage by roughly 50 to 60. So the number goes down really fast. Why does Kraken have a cape? Why doesn't Kraken have a cape? That's the real question. Those other Krakens are probably counterfeits. Alright. We got our physical defenses up. Our magic defenses are already pretty good. Oh, this octopus might be dueling. And our hammer might be a little bit underpowered. We're gonna have a good time. You could also just use the two Scarlets. It would be 7 rounds probably, which is faster than doing the Power Glove. It's just more satisfying. This square becomes hammer time. Kraken's down. And we'll get Carry up next. Only 6 hits with the Power Glove. It takes a long time with the Power Glove to increase your attacks per round. I only got the 1 haste item from the 15 puzzle, which is going to get used for Chaos. And until then, we're just going to have to suffer a bit. Black Mage is going to have fast all the time, which is going to be very nice. Black Mage might have some trouble with healing. There we go. Sea Shrine done. Let's get out of here. Yeah, the Protect spell is really good. Protect and Blink, that the White Mage gets at first tier, are spells that stack. And that means they are basically good through the entire game. Next destination, unfortunately, going to be the town of Melmond here. We just got to get rid of that slab. And maybe someday. We'll get rid of the town of Melmond as well. It would be nice. All we get rid of is probably some junk that we picked up here. So what was it? Oh yeah, the cap can go. The old brace can go. Bring up a little space there. Now we can go over to Gurgu Volcano. Get our next boss done. So much about these solo character challenges, just a lot of preparation to be able to smash through the next chunk of the game. but it feels very, very nice when you do it. Also very nice going through here with all of this wonderfully delicious lava. As you can see, if you're not walking on lava, you are probably getting a lot of encounters. We intend to walk in a lot of lava. It's wonderful watching people play this game for the first time and trying to avoid the lava as best they can. Which is evidently a very horrendous mistake, because it's very hard to finish Gurgir Volcano at reasonable levels if you are having to do all the fights. There we go. Gurgir Volcano nearly complete. Just gotta do something about this pesky fire problem. Alright, firementals in ordeals would be probably the last point where they'd be a challenge. But firementals would still benefit from having some amount of better offense output, so black shirt, definitely a good pickup there. Ooh, pick up. With our next fiend, Carry. Same strategy. Here's where if I grab the wizard staff, we could try and confuse Carry. It's a really funny effect. But at this point, we don't need the wizard staff to win. One more should do it. Guarantee that all of our hits are doing ones. Bust out our giant glove. And because our magic defense is so high, we don't even need the lamp spell. That is how overpowered Dan is. One more should do it. Have that turn. Then it will be our turn. It's hammer time. Three fiends down. Yeah, level up. Carry gives you one Agama worth of experience. Alright, it's like 1.01 Agama, but it's so nice that Carry is the closest in value to an Agama. Make sure to tell all your friends that fun fact. Let's go to the Talufania. Gonna do a little bit of questing before we can finish off Tiamat, but we are continuing to cruise here. I guess this stretch does technically have unrunnables where the mage staff is worth it. The Zombul troll fight. Nice, the sandworm. Pretty rare encounter. I can probably run from these. But I really don't want to sit through a second round of that. It would take forever. Getting in and out of the canoe is still a free step in the mission, yes. Vehicle transitions are free. It's only significant for the canoe because with the boat, you're getting off on dock tiles, which are also free. So you don't really notice that it's like doubly free. And the airship, when you get on and off, it's on the same square. They're not actually taking a step. Canoe is the only one where you can make forward progress and go to tiles that are otherwise going to have encounters on them. Now the toga party gets started. Look, I'm just here for my chime. We did not sign up for any of these weird dances. But it looks like we're gonna have to do them anyway. That's Lufinia done. Unlike Belmont. I would not mind if that town had a little bit of combustion. We're not even trying to get the really, really good encounters up here. These are the same encounters that you have on the Peninsula of Power, which the quad zomble is usually considered the very best for what you want to grind on early as a mage. Go ahead and use our house up here. Don't really need to save these for the end of the game. Don't need anything here, so let's just run up. Mage Staff is your only fire 2 items. That one's pretty easy. Zeus Gauntlet you can get, or you can get the Thor Hammer, and since I got the Zeus Gauntlet, I do not need to stop in for the Thor Hammer pickup. Without class change, you cannot equip it as a White Mage. Black Shirt's going to be upstairs. Pro Cape's going to be upstairs. At that point, other than the Mazmune, we would be done. Much better. You are not that fast. Has Dan broken his legs again? This seems to be a recurring problem. Beep beep to you too. Except my beeps are with the Zeus Gauntlets. You are not gonna like that. Yep, see you later. Normally a Ceres pack has a pretty high chance of being an ambush, which in this version translates into a pretty high chance of being a preemptive attack. Just like these Catmen. As for this blue dragon, best way of fighting this thing, I think, is just with spells. I think it would take longer to power glove up than it is to just do this. Spells are not really that good versus the dragon, but we have a lot of intelligence. So I think we can get away with it. Dodge tower. Done. Alright, no need for the Bane Sword in this playthrough. Bane Sword is significantly less good when you don't have a 3 in 2d6 chance of just killing anything at all. So there is no special critical hit for spells anymore that bypasses elemental resistances, which is a shame. Alright, Black Shot I will pick up here. Would be a few of the hardcore mana cores, if they stick around. That's level 97 Dan's got now. Alright. Level 97, still not enough to win from Chimeras. That is enough to get the black shirt. Now we're set. Fire 2, Lit 2, Ice 2, all covered. We got Ruse from the Defense Sword. We've got Saber from the Giant's Gauntlets. That's about all the spells we are ever going to need, other than maybe if we do get that Nuke Staff from the Final Fantasy V bonus dungeon. That'd be kind of nice. Floor 3 is where our Pro Cape is. Last defensive upgrade in the game. Thinking about things. Oh, Black Shirt went to the perfect spot just on its own. Nice. Let's put that up there. That's a little bit more damage than the other one. I could probably put all of these up here, because I don't really use the boss items nearly as much as I do the regular encounter items. Look at the window. Nope. Window is closed. I got this big ball in the way. You have to remember, as the remakes go on in years, the sky coast gets lower and lower, so we have no longer got an up-spatial platform in space. Now we're just kind of cruising through the lower atmosphere. By the time that you're in the Pixar Master version, it is subterranean. And without a Vorpal Sword throw out of it. It's really just not the same. Well, that's not a Warmech. Our Warmech odds are very, very slim here. But just in case, I would really love to fight one. It would be funny. There were no orcs. Only shame and sadness. This White Teammate is about to get demolished. So you might be the first one where it makes more sense to use the defense sword here for the elemental, or for the physical protection. Elemental we've got covered just by being really good at magic defense and being really good at Cure 3. This should be good. Unlike the NES version, you don't really have a safe number that is feasible to reach. It takes a very, very large number of brew spells to be out of the range of enemies. That's because they fixed how the accuracy score calculations worked. On the NES version, there is relatively early in the formula. A value for the enemy's attack score plus some bonuses that gets capped at 255. And so a lot of the later enemies don't really have that much better chance of hitting you than mid-game enemies. So almost everything after like 2 defense swords, you can pretty much dodge other than critical hits. That poison to poison, and that was getting poisoned. There is a difference. Nice. There's going to be some hammer time here. Just think about how wonderful it's going to be when we get that mass rune. It will be a bit of an upgrade. So they went down. Tiamat's out of the way. I do still need to farm out the emergency exit from the 15 puzzle. I might try to get an extra haste item, because it is starting to look like we will have time for Omega and Shinryu tonight. I can't be 100% certain, but it does seem like our pace is really, really good. Unless you would get the double bonus boss. Or we can do the Final Fantasy 6 bosses, but I think the Final Fantasy 5 ones are considered the tougher ones. So we could think about it. Right now. Thief does Final Fantasy 6 bosses. Thief might have some trouble with any bosses. I don't know if the Thief is fighting Garland. Alright, I do not have a lot of room on my leaderboard. So looking at next one is 38 seconds. I need to think for a second here. What do I want to do for getting these guaranteed? I might reset if I don't get one of the 2 items pretty fast, and then preserve my times a bit. Alright, Trip Ether, not what we need. That's 37. Lowest time I've had about a little bit over 15 seconds. That was my fastest time. I got elixir, but we don't really need those. Getting a really, really fast time is definitely a very, very large matter of luck. You're not going to have the really good times possible every single combination of initial squares. One is 36, yeah. Another Turbo Ether. We have not gotten either of the items that I need, which is an emergency exit and an extra Hermes shoes. If I don't get him here, then I'm going to reset and do these attempts again. That's 35. And elixir. Okay. Got a 7.65. That is a ridiculous time, Chuck. So I've not really done grinding for fastest speed. Most of these are just as part of doing speed runs and such. I would still say that that would be a very, very hard time to try and duplicate. This one was 38. 5, 6, 7, 8. Another elixir that we don't need. Always the items that you're not looking for. One is 37. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's our Hermes shoes. Okay. Let's take that one. We're going to get that elixir after all. And we're going to still go for that emergency exit for the last one. Okay, that's 36. 3, 4, 5, 6. Remedy. Okay, losing a couple as long as we get that emergency exit before too long here. This one's 35. We get an emergency exit so I can go to the bonus dungeons after we beat Chaos. 2, 3, 4, 5. Another Hermes shoes. Would be nice to save another one of those. Go ahead and take that. Got a couple more seconds left. This one is 34. These have been fairly friendly puzzles. Turbo ether. All right. Get down to the last couple. One 33. 2, 3. The remedy. 3's not a bad spot. Okay, 32. 31, 2. Emergency exit. All right, we got him. That ought to be good. This ought to be wet. Our trip 2,000 years back in time begins. It's really not that much more time than the Red Mage, which I am very much surprised at. But I've been surprised by all of the character classes so far, basically. And I guess that is nothing new. Yeah, it didn't take too long to get those. It is not bad for the first one. We can take either of 2 items. The pool of items is not that big, so the odds of getting 1 of 2 is pretty easy. It's getting the second one, when now you're looking at like a 1 in 6 or a 1 in 8, depending on which of the prize tiers that you're at. Then it's a little bit more painful to get lucky on it. Level 97, we got 999 for our HP and our MP. We did very, very good on our other stats. We'll see what our final numbers are looking at. Level 99 to check that when we get down to the bottom. I expect I'll have enough encounters on the way here to get 99 before we hit Chaos. The ninja be faster than a fighter, so you would have the fast spell and the temper spell, which is really nice. But you would have generally lower quality gear for a long time. I mean, that fast spell and temper spell do a lot for speed through it. Assuming your stat gains were not terrible in doing grinds, so that you didn't have to do any kind of optimization for it, maybe you get away with that. There's a lot of bonuses for the ninja in this version of the game. There we get the fan. You know, I didn't get the items out of Cardi Islands, so I'm down my elixir and X potion and ether. I do get the one here, the dry ether, and the elixir on this side. We get level 99 picked up. Totally good to go there. Yeah, ninja would have spells for Astos as well, but you wouldn't really need them because if you have temper, then Astos is going to die to that. It does not take a lot of tempers and fasts to make Astos just kind of evaporate. Alright, we're level 99 now. Got a couple fights up there that pushed us over the top. So everything at this point is just for pride. And because it's in my way. Which is an excellent reason to murder things. Especially Chimeras and Chimeras. That super high intelligence score is just like, boop. Anything with an element of weakness is probably going to get destroyed. Everything without elemental weakness is probably just going to be reset here. Nice first strike on the Frosty. That's very uncommon. Normally, that's a really annoying fight because they're just so incredibly fast that even at level 99, you are still failing to run from them. They go first very often. They just waste so much time here. Like that. That you have to save scum regardless. The rest of the floors, if you are relatively capable of dealing with all the regular encounters, some of them might be kind of slow, but I feel like it is better to not save scum and just blast away. So let's we got harm 3. Carry and Kraken we're gonna have to hammer. And then Tiamat, we finally get to use the Mazmune. Gonna be so nice. Can you believe it's been 1 hour since the zombie degrind, and we are now at Temple of Fiends. That is the preparation part of this. Almost there. First fiend in sight around the corner here. First fiend refight. Now about to be taken down. Now normally the fiends lose their elemental weaknesses to the attacks as part of the refights. But because Lich is not actually weak to harm, it's just the thing that does bonus damage to him. Harm does not have any difference in terms of its capabilities. And that it's going to be fairly effective. Nuke is also pretty effective. But I'd say we won. Warps at AoE instant dispel. Kill is the single target XXXX. This should be the end of Lich. One refight down. Ready to go. Now it carries forward. There's a Mega Elixir down here that I'm going to grab. Like a little bit of a detour. I think the big upside is that we might get extra bonus Agamas. And nobody's going to turn those down. Interesting. Firemental is fast enough to outspeed you here. That is pretty unexpected. I mean, White Mage is kind of a slow character class. Still, level 99. Just a passive right there is the Pro Cape. Decent pickup if you are in need of a second one of those. Realistically, get the first one in Skycast if you only need one. Down here. You should never, never go the opposite direction. To the left is only sadness and pain. And a katana. Which is probably why everyone is sad. And in pain. Looks like if I was willing to have less chances at Mega Elixirs, I could have probably picked up a couple more levels here at Temple of Fiends at the end. Probably at least 5 to 8 level ups worth of experience since we have already gotten level 99. That was upstairs early in the dungeon. Because that is how much things here are worth. Yeah, we're probably fine. But just in case, I will save and fight fiend number 2. I think this is from the 50 puzzle. Yep. If I needed more of those, then I could have done 15 puzzle. I could have done more zombies, unlimited number of zombies, whereas 15 puzzle, you're eventually going to have no more first place times that you can get. But I think for White Mage, you just need very, very few of them. As your Cure 3 spell is big enough to take care of problems. Fighter, Black Belt, even to some extent the Red Mage. It was difficult to have a big enough heal to out-heal the really, really nasty, dangerous stuff. So you had to pop elixirs or X potions or whatever to get your HP back. Red Mage kind of was on the borderline. We got enough intelligence by grinding out Red Mage level ups to hit 50 something, and that was like 350, 360 for the Cure 3s. Many things can be healed with that. It's not going to be enough for like some of the really high-end bosses, but almost everything. But if you look at Fighter or Black Belt, they've got nothing, so they're going to have to use some way to keep it alive. Calm Tim, thank you much for resubscribing back for 17 months. Hope you're enjoying our solo White Mage playthrough. Coming up on Chaos here with the bonus bosses to follow after that. Better than walking out to Ordeals. So Ordeals has a couple things. Ordeals has a Zeus Gauntlet, which is the first item that you get that's going to be lit to. So that pretty much solves all of your AoE damage problems as a White Mage. Up until now, or up until then, White Mage was pretty much unable to fight nearly anything. You get a free gold bracelet, which is nice. You'll probably have enough money to buy one, but get you a gold bracelet a little bit early, so you're upgrading over the silver bracelet at that point. And it gets you a ton of experience. I went from level 30 to level 85, I think it was, on the zombie grind in about an hour. And that's really, really efficient. Now you can get about the same pace with the eye grind. You would need to have that Zeus Gauntlet though, or some other way of killing the eye. You wouldn't be able to kill the eye efficiently with what the Mage would have up to that point naturally. So I don't really see like a good way of skipping ordeals entirely, it actually saves time. It's just too good. Crap. Too noodly for his own good. That hurts. Got a defense sword our way out of this. The protect spell does work, although it takes a little bit longer in Kraken 2 since his attack power is much, much higher. Better to just do defense swords until his number of attacks goes down dramatically. Heal up. Gauntlet up. And then hammer up. What's our Cure 3 doing? $446, so we didn't quite hit 450 on a consistent basis, but we're pretty close. This is basically 450. I wanted to have 500. I probably could have done a couple more manipulated intelligence levels to get there. But 450, really not bad. That should be comfortably overhealing nearly every attack in the game. And the reason you need to overheal is because otherwise you're just trading attack for heals 1 for 1. You are going to never take a turn and eventually run out of MP. So you gotta be at least like 50% over the enemy's attacks to be interesting, and more realistically, if you're not double the enemy's attacks, it's gonna be a really, really long fight. That. It's gonna be hammer time. Right now, we are very winning. Kraken has been clobbered. Means the only thing between us and the Masbune is hordes of very, very angry monsters. I'll tell you, they barely stand a chance. Vampires can sometimes be kind of weird to run from. They're very, very fast. You can see they're going nearly all before Dan takes a turn. In fact, did every single one go first? That is sad. How do you find Iron Golems? Very rarely. The Iron Golem got a buffed appearance rate in the Pixar Master version, so it's very easy to find there. GBA and PSP, it's not as bad as finding Warmechs, but it's pretty close. Whereas finding Masamunes is really, really nice. Our White Mage is going to make these purple worms regret a lot of things. Chop, chop. Yeah, GBA is still the rare monster for the floor. Pixar Master, I think it turns into the second rarest encounter, which is roughly 3 times that. Of course, we get the emergency exit for free from the purple worm. Because why not? That would have saved me a little bit of time on that 15 puzzle grind. Well, now we got 2 of them. Which is fine. That'll be our spare emergency exit in case Dan loses the first one. We'll look at Dan's stats once we get to Chaos. I'll do that as a quick rundown for the end of the game. No, they're not iron golems. They're not sufficiently blue. Alright, same basic idea. I'm doing a couple of ruses here from the defense sword. You could probably just skip that for the Tiamat fight. It's so much faster with the Mazmune that you're probably not taking that much damage from physical attacks anyway. Well, if Tiamat is very, very frisky, would it be a problem? You don't really need a lot of these. It's going to take longer than you would normally expect because you don't have the fast spell. You don't have other people buffing you at the same time, but a couple of power gloves, a big sword, and a very angry White Mage does solve a lot of problems. As per usual. Alright, we're solving our problems with violence. Wait for Tiamat. Two words for Tiamat. Did I miscount it? There we go. Tiamat's done. And with that, our fiends are no more. I think we used more MP on Lich than on basically the entire rest of this dungeon. It was demolished. Very soon. So will chaos. Alright. Let me get the ethers on, then I'll give you the rundown of how our White Mage has done here. Level 99, of course, with maximum HP and MP, we managed to get 35 strength, 34 agility, 82 was our final strength, or our final intelligence number, which means we should be at that second to last breakpoint for black magic. Nailed it exactly. 39 stamina, 30 luck. And of course, we couldn't have done it without the assistance of Ace, Bill, and Cal, who have been patiently napping for the last 8.5 hours. It is kind of surprising the accuracy is not that good. I was thinking that White Mage would max out. But this is still fine. You're looking at 6 attacks per round base. 192 would have been the next one. Yes, using my skills, give me a little bit of free timer to get these defense swords up. Our number for healing is probably when we hit below 500. So the power of Cure 3 comes into play. Not quite as high as I was hoping, but 444, 450 is basically what we got up to. So we're doing pretty good there. All right, physical attacks are more or less done. You can also protect to make yourself even safer. There's a chance that Chaos does get critical hits that sneak through your very high evasion scores. But that is more for the bosses that just you cannot evade. There, I do want to do the haste as well. Let's speed up our final bit of killing in the most delightful fashion. Does that have the shoes? There we go. All right, back to Giant's Gloves. You can also use the other items I picked up from the Caravan Vendor. The Protects are basically like the Protect spell. The Speed Drinks give you a bonus to your number of attacks per round. That is going to let you go past a lot of the other mechanisms for it. So you'll eventually hit up to, with haste, the 32 attacks. That is just absolutely ridiculous. Dan's going to be at a more pedestrian number. Probably going to be hitting around 14 or so attacks. It'll be barely a scratch. Alright, hopefully this misses. Good dodge. And kind of the big thing here is that I want to have enough damage output that I'm not worried about Chaos's Cure 4 setting us back a huge amount of time. Cure 4 is 9999 recovery. It's not a full recovery because he's got 20,000 health, but it's a pretty large amount. And so it's better to spend your turns buffing up your attacks so that you're doing 2,000-3,000 damage to swing, rather than slowly chipping away and potentially losing a lot of it. All right, 18 hits, nearly 4,000 damage. That'll be 6 rounds for us. Maybe a couple cures on the side. All right, Chaos is getting up to that Cure 4, but we are already doing about a Cure 4's worth of damage every 3 rounds. So it would not last long if we lost this damage. Yeah, it's not going to last much longer at this rate. Goes down in 8 hours. 27 minutes and 17 seconds. The solo White Mage strikes again. A little bit longer than Red Mage, but really